Alright, today's video is all about what's happening in the US. Because in a roundabout way, this will likely benefit Canada. Assuming they don't invade. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap up the story on that boat they blew up. Because more information has come out. This idea of companies moving to the US to avoid tariffs? Yeah, that's likely not going to happen anymore. They're going to invade Chicago. And another blow to the United States dollar as reserve currency. Oh, but first. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. He is not only in the files. He is the files. All right, first up, that boat. I had a conspiracy theory on this boat yesterday because, there was no one crying and weeping for the people who had died. It has been confirmed that most of the people who passed away on that boat came from this little fishing village over here, and they were headed for Trinidad. The boat in the image had multiple outboards, so it was a bigger version of these things, but you can see these are not big boats. 11 people on one of these boats takes up a lot of room. And I want to stress, heading for Trinidad. Someone in my comments even called the folks on the boat illegal immigrants. Anyway you slice it, it's a war crime. And JD Vance would like the world to know, I don't give a shit what you call it. He might give a shit soon if things don't go the way they plan. Alright, another blow to the US dollar. Kenya's plan to switch debt payments to China from US dollars to yuan is a win-win. Right now, Kenya has to pay back a loan of about $5 billion, and they have to pay 6.37% interest on that. The thing is, this interest rate is because of the high federal funds rate. If they pay the loan back in yuan, then it'll be based on China's rate, which is about half. If this works out fine for Kenya and China, expect more countries to settle their debts this way. If enough countries settle their debts this way, the United States won't have the resources to invade everyone. Not like they have the resources now, they're too busy shooting themselves in the foot. South Korea concludes talks to release nationals detained in a Hyundai raid in the US. US officials detained 475 people, more than 300 of them South Korean nationals, who they said were found to be illegally working at a battery facility, one of the largest foreign investment projects in the state. They're building a battery facility. So yeah, the Koreans are going to send Koreans over to set up the battery facility. That's how it works. This kind of thing happens all the time, everywhere. Have you ever heard of the term business trip? I've had to do it. I've had to work in California for a few weeks. I've had to work in Sweden for a few weeks. As it said here, there are various visas and visa waiver programs for people who work for a company and have to go to a different country to help set up stuff for that company. Do you think other companies are going to move their business to the United States to avoid tariffs now? Yeah, no. No, they won't. And lastly, this little tidbit. Kamala's newest lie, Trump will send the army for you. This is from a year ago. Fast forward to today, and there you go. Yeah, Chicago is barricading the city with salt trucks. Yeah, there's a joke here. Salt trucks to fight the ICE agents. People would take this more seriously if there weren't these, sarcastic comebacks happening. And it's legit, these salt trucks are being deployed all over the city to blockade the roads. People are concerned, and they should be. Just remember, that war didn't go so well for the United States. It was also a war founded on bullshit. Also, a little fact that I know that I never hear being repeated in the media, and you can look it up, this is historical fact. Ho Chi Minh, right, leader of the North Vietnamese, he approached President Kennedy for assistance first. South Vietnam was a dictatorship, and he's like, you know what, why don't you help us out? We can take out this dictator, and we can be friends. Kennedy said no because Ho Chi Minh was a communist. If Kennedy had had more foresight, the entire Vietnam conflict would never have happened. But that's the problem with the United States. They don't have the foresight. They don't think about what's going to happen after the fact. They don't really consider the knock-on effect of their actions, or the self-harm that comes from them being difficult to work with. I find it ironic that the administration is using the Vietnam War as a reference here, because the Vietnam War ended in embarrassment for the United States. And I think that's going to happen again.